Ladies and gentlemen of the media, welcome to our press briefing, the first election day press briefing. We may have more as the day progresses. With me is Mr. Raphael Trotman, co-chair for APNU+AFC campaign. He will brief you on some matters, and then we'll allow you to pose your questions based on what he said and any other matter of concern. Mr. Trotman.
Thank you, Malika. Good afternoon, everyone, members of the press. It's a great day for Guyana. I hope that you all have voted and exercised your democratic right as citizens, responsible citizens. And so I speak to you with the knowledge that all of you have voted. I think those who have not voted, we'd ask that you would ask to be excused now, go to vote and come back. This is just a briefing, as Malika has pointed out, the first of a series of briefings that we intend to give between now and the day and time when election results are announced. And so I just thought I would give an update and, more importantly, to take your questions, because members of the press have been calling. Many questions, many rumors circulating. So we thought we'd just address some matters. I'll give you an update as per region. I'll start with Region 1. Of course, the voting there so far has been smooth. No major incidents to report of anything that is outside of the ordinary, abnormal or extraordinary. By that I mean, of course, any irregularities or anything that appears to be fraudulent or mischievous. Region 2, the same. There was an incident at Defiance where some candidates of the PPPC were apparently a little over-exuberant, so we're told, but again, nothing that should cause any great concern. Region 3 is going again smoothly in terms of the vote, no interference. Region 4, well, that's a different kettle of fish altogether. I just returned, as I'm sure many of you have, from places like Turning Point, Guy Hawk. There are these sporadic reports of persons trying to overrun, to storm polling stations. It seemed quite strange, but I did go on the scene of one such report, one such incident, and spoke to the people. I myself don't understand why someone in broad daylight in a place like Guy Hawk or Tocqueville would want to go and try to take possession of a ballot box. The names of known PPP operatives and some candidates are being mentioned. I wouldn't mention them today, but I think members of the press would have heard some of these names. I've spoken to one such gentleman and said, what is going on? He says, you know, my name gets called and everything. I know nothing about it. But indeed, his name does get called at every elections. So those reports concern us. We don't know why, as I said, persons would attempt, but I am satisfied that the people, the citizens of Georgetown in particular, and the citizens of Guyana in general, will not allow anyone to interfere with the ballot, with the process, and more so take control of any box. This is unfortunate that persons have already been badly beaten, but that is going to be the result of any attempt to overrun any box. Thankfully, the police have responded, because I think we might have seen loss of life or limb based on the response that I see the people giving. In Region 5, voting has been smooth. I just received a credible report confirmed of an underage girl, Miss R. June, voting at Golden Nursery, West Coast, Berbice, box number 52212. The police also are investigating that matter, but the child is known by the entire village to be underage, but apparently she was allowed to cast a ballot, and the police are investigating. As a lawyer, I'll tell you that if there's one incident of such a case, you'll find others. So we are in the process of strengthening our scrutiny in Region 5. In Region 6, voting has been strong in New Amsterdam and elsewhere, but reports are of slow voting, poor, not excellent turnout in Quarantine, Middle and Upper Quarantine. But certainly in New Amsterdam, Stanley Tongue, up the East Bank, Mara, the voting has been strong. Region 7, I'm told that most of the people registered in Bartik in particular have already voted, so they've already taken care of that matter before 12, and so they're confident that most a high percentage of persons have already voted. Region 8, again, no strange reports. Region 9, so far going good. Aishalton very strong. South and Anai, Arnaputa, North strong. Lethem very strong. Some reports of CSOs in St. Ignatius soliciting people to vote for the PPPC, but that was shut down. And Region 10, no major incidents or hiccups, and that the voting is strong. Our primary candidates, Mr. David Granger, the presidential candidate, and Mr. Moses Nagamoto have both voted with their wives and members of their families. Of course, you know that. All of us, you're not allowed to enter this building as a candidate unless you can show that you have voted. So we have voted, and we're confident that the people are turning out, and we will gain the victory when the results, even before the results are announced, we know that we would have won. Those would be the incidents and matters that I wanted to report on.
Thank you, Mr. Trotman. Members of the media, please pose your question, beginning with Fariza and then Kiana.
Fariza and APNU+. Mr. Trotman, can you say if you know exactly how old the young lady is that voted?
No. That information is on its way to me, but the police are involved in investigating because, yes, she's known to be underage.
At this incident and the one at Turning Point where the polling station was closed when iNews was there at the scene, can you say if you brought this to the attention of GCOM? Because GCOM is claiming they don't have any reports of such, they haven't received any reports of disturbances. Have you spoken to anyone at GCOM or brought it to your attention?
Well, I would expect that the correct protocol would be for the presiding officer to make contact with the district officials or with GCOM directly to say what is happening in and around the polling place. I don't think that you can miss or avoid that something is happening at Turning Point. You were there, I was there, and it is not for the political party, not for the political parties to inform GCOM, it is for the presiding officer and the police to inform GCOM. So we don't feel that we have a legal duty to inform GCOM, but if it is that GCOM needs to be informed, they're duly informed by this press conference that there is something very, very strange and untoward taking place or has taken place at Turning Point.
Yes, Kiana.
Good afternoon, Kiana Wilbur, Kaitra News. Sir, there have been some breaches in normal procedure with incidents arising at Central High School and the Ruimveldt district. Are you concerned, given what has played out, are you concerned about the security arrangements for the closing of polls at 6?
You said breaches in terms, I know about the stamp.
There's a similar one.
Yeah, okay, but the stamp breaking would not be a security problem. It's a failure of equipment, and it means that GCOM has to look at who they're purchasing from, make sure that they're getting value for money, that they're not buying old or inferior products. But I did pass at Central, and there were a group of good, strong women who I know well, who gave me the assurance that they're not going to see anything strange happen there. I believe, and I would applaud the initiative of the presiding officer. If the stamp breaks, the main thing is that the number was written on until such time that the stamp was replaced. But as for now, I'm not treating that as a security concern. There were security issues. I received reports in Ruimveldt, in Guyhawk, and a few other places. And we are, one name seems to be repeating, two names seem to be repeating themselves. And those gentlemen ought to be very careful because the people now have their car numbers, they have their names and know their faces very well. So I hope that they know what it is they're playing with.
But apart from that, are you generally satisfied with the process thus far and what is taking place?
The process has been satisfactory thus far. There was a surge. I know that even before 6 o'clock, hundreds were lined up around, in fact thousands, at various polling stations. And I think it tapered off at about around 10. We're likely to see a picking up after 4 or later this afternoon when the sun goes down. But we are satisfied with the process as of now.
Gordon?
Gordon Mosley, News Source. Mr. Trotman, sir, it has been the custom over the past couple of years and past elections that we see a surge of not voters, but regular residents coming out to surround polling stations at the close of polls. Is there something you might want to say to your supporters? Because many polling agents say they are intimidated by that. Do you think they ought to be concerned, and would you want to give any advice to any supporter of yours who might be thinking of that?
What we say to our supporters is to guard your vote, guard your democratic right. And if people feel that there are attempts being made to interfere with the process, I don't think that I should tell people not to be vigilant and to stand on guard. Don't interfere, but by all means don't go home and just leave it to someone else. We all have an individual and collective responsibility now to protect our gains. After 1964, I think these are the most important elections this country has ever faced, and I think people have a right, and in fact a duty, to protect the democratic process which is unfolding today. So people have nothing, if there's nothing bad happening in a polling place, they have nothing to worry about. So if they see people outside, they know that those people are there to protect them and to protect the ballots that have been cast. But those who believe that they may want to interfere have every reason to be afraid. But I would not ask the people to stand down at all.
And sir, we have just about 4 hours to go before the close of polls, and there are some folks who are still making up their minds whether they should even vote. What would be your message to them, and as you count down to the close of polls right now?
Well, every citizen, as I said, should go out and vote. It is our right. I mean, we can't criticize a government if we didn't participate in choosing that government. And for us, we'd like persons to come out and vote, of course, naturally for the APNU+AFC. But it's just as important that people just vote, because we all have a duty to ensure that the next government is the government of the people and for the people, and that we all had a hand in its election and in how it's going to manage the affairs of the nation. So my appeal would be to everyone above the age of 18 to get out there to vote, and to, by any means, legal of course, try to get to the ballot place, to the polling place, and to exercise that vote. We've been assisting persons in this office, and I know others have, with money for transportation. We've been providing meals, water. Just in any way possible, we've been given assistance. And I know that residents of different communities have also been cooking and providing transportation, giving up their minibuses and motorcycles, even bicycles. So just get out, vote, and vote for something that is transformational, that brings genuine and long-lasting change to Guyana.
Next question, please. If no more questions, thank you, ladies and gentlemen of the media. We'll keep you updated later on in the day.
Just before the close and then after.
Just Mr. Trotman is informing me that we'll have a next briefing sometime just before the close of polls, and of course after then, obviously. Thank you.
Thank you, and